Dave, some of the things I appreciate most about you is your love for the Lord and your love for the church and your love for God's word, especially in the original languages. In fact, when I was serving as academic dean here at Ozark Christian College and our longtime Greek professor, Kenny Bowles, was retiring, I needed to come up with a professor to replace him and teach his classes. And he looked at me and he said, Doug, Dave Fish is one of the most technically accurate Greek translators I know. And I was like, okay. And so we used you, Dave, as you know, to teach Greek 2 and Greek 3 for us. And that fact was even proven more true when a couple years later, Logos Bible software reached out to you to be the translator for their Spanish-Greek interlinear translation of the Bible. And so thank you so much for serving that way. A couple years later, I needed a Greek 1 professor, and I approached you and you said, sure, you would love to do that. And I looked at you and I said, but can you make it fun? And you said, oh yeah, I can make it fun. And in fact, you did. In fact, numbers in Greek doubled the years that you were teaching it. And so thank you so much for your commitment to the mission of Ozark Christian College.
David Fish, man, you and I go all the way back to our days in this very school where we first met. Lots of great memories here. I guess I remember you best from our days together in Chile, you riding with me as we went into people's homes out in the barrios, sharing the gospel, planting new churches, drinking tea, coffee, eating lots of bread. Tons of great memories. But you know, the one thing that really marks you in my memory is when I first challenged you and Rose to consider coming to work with us in Chile for just a couple of years. I remember your response really well. You said, I guess I need to choose between being a servant and being a scholar. You know, I can confidently say, my friend, that in fact you chose both and you chose them well. You've led an impactful life with those twin values at the forefront, both on the mission field and here at Ozark. Thank you, David, for your deep commitment to excellence in scholarship, but even more, thank you for your service to our King. It's an honor to know you, my brother.
The first year I was in David's Greek class was fall of 2020. We were returning after the pandemic, and after being sent home midway through my first year of Greek, I was intimidated. In one of our first class sessions, David asked me to translate a part of John, and after struggling through it, I huffed and I kind of went, I don't know what it says. I learned Greek through Zoom. David didn't seem to mind my frustration. Instead, he helped me out, and then he moved on with class. That same day, he sent me a message saying, don't be discouraged. We're all learning this together. You're doing fine.
David, we're grateful for your consistent and compassionate work that you've put into God's kingdom.
Many years ago, when I was an Ozark student, I had an anthropology professor, and his name was David Fish. That tells you how old David is. Also, we've had many Ozark professors publish books about the Bible, but we've only had one who actually published a Bible, and his name was David Fish. That tells you how good David is. In 2016, David published an interlinear Bible, Greek and Spanish, with Lexham Press and Logos Bible software, and David was the exact right man to create that tool for 3 reasons. Reason 1, David has always had a heart to share God's word. When he graduated from Ozark, he and his wife Rose went to Chile to serve as missionaries, where he preached and taught and built up the church with the scriptures. Always a heart to share God's word. Now, reason 2, David has a remarkable facility with the Spanish language. Now, some have a God-given gift for learning languages, some don't. My Spanish is muy peligroso, very dangerous, but David's Spanish is muy fluido, very fluent. When my son Carl had David as his Spanish professor, Carl said that the class was great, but what he enjoyed the most was hearing David pray in Spanish. So beautiful, he said. And even native Spanish speakers will tell you that David's Spanish is flawless, and I'm not surprised that David used that gift to advance the gospel. Reason number 3, David was the exact right guy to publish that Bible. He is a Greek genius. Now, David's a smart dude, and like all geniuses, he is quirky. He once made a music video wearing sunglasses, Hawaiian shirt, palm tree and beach in the background. The song was about Greek grammar, and he called it Participaleville, and he sang it to the tune of Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville. Now, we're not really about alcohol here at Ozark, but I love that video because we are all about Greek participles. Martin Luther one time said that the original biblical languages are the sheath in which the sword of the Spirit is contained. And for 30 years here at Ozark, David Fish has been teaching Bible classes and Spanish classes and Greek classes so that our students can wield the sword of the Spirit with accuracy and power. Publishing a Bible, that's a pretty significant accomplishment, but David's greatest accomplishment has been the generations of kingdom leaders that he sent out who can correctly handle the word of truth. So on behalf of Ozark Christian College, thank you, David Fish. Well done. good and faithful servant.